I think the thing with controversial casting choices is a lot of times people will tell a story, and the story that they tell is they'll say, well, like many people were sort of like up for the role, or people will say, this was the best person based on that. I think invariably, really, when you plan you're going to create the movie, you already know what you're going to do. So I'm sure when Christopher Nolan was planning, or even not when he was planning, when he was sitting with the producer and then the casting people, et cetera, they knew that certain roles they were open to having diverse, quote unquote, people play them. You get me? That was something that they knew. It's the same thing, quick side note, when you see like Denzel and he plays Shakespeare. When Denzel is playing Shakespeare, he's playing Shakespeare because they wanted Denzel to play Shakespeare. You know what I'm saying? When Denzel's playing Hamlet, he's playing Hamlet because they wanted Denzel playing Hamlet. I mean, we can play the game. Oh, Denzel did a bunch of acting. No, or Denzel went up against other. Denzel did not. But of course, Denzel, comparing Denzel to for example, the Mexican Kenyan lady. I just slipped on her name. Not a good comparison, just in terms of the range or the star power. But I'm just using it as an example. So I think really it depends on the movie, it depends on the case, but Christopher Nolan, he can say whatever he wants to say, like him and the producers, the casting people, et cetera, the writers, they knew okay, we're going to, we'll either have like a melanated lady, or we'll have like, a Hispanic lady or something playing this role. They knew that. You know what I mean? Like if they say they didn't, it's just not, like not accurate. They're just veering from the truth. Now they might do that, and I didn't really read a lot of interviews. And the main reason I didn't read a lot of interviews because I didn't really want to spoil my experience and kind of color how I would see like the movie based on what they were thinking. So sometimes some people they'll be like, well, since you can have a quote unquote black Helen of Troy, then you can have a white MLK. No, dog, you can't. Stop it. That's not a good comparison. Like, for example, they're not really trying to do a JFK movie with, you know, Denzel, for example. They're not going to have Denzel play JFK. What are you talking about? That's not going to happen. Like, nobody would see that movie. Like, nobody black would see that movie. Nobody white would see that movie. What are you talking about? Now, when you get into, like, oh, why did they have a Hispanic Snow White? Like, when they sat there and they had Ziegler, like they knew what they were going to do. I mean, they can tell us now, no, we didn't know. No, that's not true. Like they knew, like we're going to reimagine this. Like, I don't know if we want to have like a black princess. Why don't we have a Hispanic princess? You know what I mean? Like they have this real conversation. Don't play games with yourself. They're actually having that conversation, and they're also having the conversation like. You know, like somebody's probably there, like, that's really going to irritate a lot of people. And then somebody else says, yeah, but it'll give us press. It'll, like there's no such thing as bad press. So while for some people it doesn't matter, and I'm going to tread lightly. Like there's some people that it seems to not matter. Good press, bad press. Some people, they find a way to escape, or just because their marketing apparatus is very strong, they're able to get past it. But here's the thing: those people, and some people that I think Kanye seems to have a really strong marketing apparatus. I think even the president has a very strong marketing apparatus. But most people, when you, when you get canceled, you stay canceled. Now, what does that have to do with, controversy? It has to do with controversy because, for example, I talked about the Snow White movie with Rachel Ziegler. Like when they cast her, okay, they engendered controversy. All right, fair enough. Then they had a lot of people upset. Now, if they had really had a much better written script, and if they had surrounded her with much, probably more powerful supporting cast, they would have had a completely different movie. And like, number one, let's just go back to the writing. If the script for Snow White had been 10 times as good, people would have entered, they would have entered the movie, even if they were haters, within the first 5 or 10 minutes. I kind of like this. Once again, I'm talking about the writing. There's something kind of like this. I'll just sit here another 10 minutes. Why isn't it 15? You know what? Let me just sit here and I'll watch the whole thing. And I say that because and I always say that it really is about, is the writing good or the writing isn't good. And I know I think about that as a creative, but I think as a theater goer, as a fan, or as whatever, I think if you think about it that way first, does that make sense? That's helpful, or does that detract from the story? For example, Helen of Troy in the Odyssey movie, while to garner controversy, it was, it garnered a lot of controversy, but based on, and I'll be consistent with my reviews, it's not the number one issue I have with the Odyssey. It's not the number one issue I have with the Odyssey. There are, unfortunately, a much more significant issue that I have with the Odyssey now. As I said in the other review, like the Odyssey, I think it's a good movie. I just don't think it's really the Odyssey movie. And I've had some people come back to me well, hey, you don't know anything about the Odyssey. I actually do. That's why I said that.